Hey everyone, I'm Jeff-McErlain, and today we need to talk about something really serious, and that is the effects of Gear Acquisition System, or GAS as we call it. I know I'm guilty of being a purveyor of GAS on the YouTube here, with all the cool gear that I know I do have, and guitars, etc. And I'm fully aware of this stuff. But one thing I do want to talk about is how unhappy some of it can make me. And what do I mean by that? Of course, I'm overjoyed that I've got some great gear. Yes, of course. But the obsession with it, or looking for the next thing, or that thing that's just going to make it better, or this thing's that much better than that thing, and if I only had that piece of gear, everything would be cool, or I love the gear that I have, and then suddenly you get fixated on a new guitar or something else that you really, really need. And this is a really bad thing, and it's been a phenomenon for the past few years, I think, with the advent of stuff like the gear page and certainly the internet. Very problematic for guitar players and pretty much anybody. I know photographers go through the same thing. People, artists, needing the latest art supply or needing the latest iPhone, all these sorts of things. So there's a bit of keeping up with the Joneses with this stuff. You go online and there's a new pedal out, or you have to have a clone, and the clone won't sound as good, but there's a special berry dust on the old clone. All those things, and all you have not done is played the freaking guitar. Thanks everyone for supporting my channel over the past year, and it means a great deal to me. And to say thank you, I'm giving away 10 of my favorite blues tracks done with a live band. You can get those for free. Just click the link above or the link below. You go over to JM Guitar Lessons in the YouTube freebies section, and you can get that for free. Also, while you're there, check out my courses and masterclasses. My latest course called Mastering Major Triads. You can get that at the link below for 30% off as well. So thank you so much, and let's get to the video. Well, the reason why I'm actually talking about this is because I've been in this loop for the past few days. I got some new pedals that I was very happy about, and what I started to do was obsess about redoing my pedal board once again. And it's always sounded great, and I'm always happy with it, but I need to change this other thing and going back and forth and A-Bing, and then suddenly it's like 2 days later, I haven't played guitar, I'm kind of miserable, I'm just A-Bing these slight different color differences in these two pedals, and I kind of got really mad at myself because it took me a little while to figure out why I was feeling so unhappy. And I was unhappy because I haven't been playing the guitar. I've been allowing obsession and all these other things. For me, it turns out to be a lot of procrastination about practicing, working on new material, whether they're personal issues you need to resolve or like bills or whatever it is. We use these things as a distraction. So the first thing I try to do is recognize that I'm in some sort of negative cycle that's not working for me, and it's making me unhappy. So once again, let me start off by saying that I know I'm surrounded by some of the most amazing gear. I cannot believe the things that I own or have acquired over the course of my life. Now, I'm not in my early 20s anymore, where things were quite different, and I've talked about how I got to some of the guitars that I own through buying and selling and trading and knowing people and being on the scene and all those sorts of things. That all attributes to getting the pieces of gear that you may or may not want. So let me go through a few things that really I think GAS does. It's a real distraction. The first thing I like to think about as I go through all this is, what am I doing? What is bugging me in my head that has suddenly made me want this other piece of gear? And what it usually comes down to for me is that I'm unhappy with my playing or any creative outlet that I'm not fulfilling. It's really important for me. I have to really be honest and say, okay, I'm not practicing as much as I should, or I'm not doing anything creative. I mean, I'm doing a lot of teaching, and I love that, and I love the YouTube videos, and I find this angle of creativity really great. But the creativity I'm talking about is why I started playing guitar in the first place, and that was to put out records, and at one point wanting to be a rock star. And then after I gave up on that, just wanting to make really, really good music. And those periods of my life, I wouldn't say the last record I'd done, were really exciting because I was live and playing music with people and working towards it. I wasn't obsessing about the gear, I was obsessing about the songs and my guitar playing. And the gear, I had plenty good gear, so that was fine. So that's the first thing, what am I avoiding? What hard emotional truth am I trying to avoid by doing this? And that usually is the fact, for me personally, is that I am not feeding the creative person that I like to see myself as, or the guitar player, not just YouTube guitar teacher, but the actual guy who played guitar, who loves playing guitar and wants to be a creative artist. So I find that that is the biggest distraction for me. the second thing that really comes into play is a feeling of inadequacy, fear of missing out, or you're not involved with the coolest stuff. In other words, I don't have an old Klon, or I don't have this latest pedal that's next to impossible to get. And if I only had that pedal, I would be better and I would play better and everything would work out and my tone would be perfect and it would just, that thing would pull it all together. Or I can't finish this project until I get this new guitar or piece of gear or this pedal or something like that. All that's just nonsense. It's just stuff that we put in our heads to help push back the pain of feeling kind of inadequate, or procrastination, right? It helps us procrastinate because, well, we can't get it right until we get that piece of gear. Once I get that thing, then I can start this project and that'll change everything and my life will be different. The internet survives on consumerism, right? So I do talk about pedals that I like, and people say to me, man, you've cost me a lot of money in pedals. And I know, and I apologize, and it is fun. I'm not saying it isn't fun. But it can also, for me, lead to I need to get this next thing, and I'm missing out. And that weird thing that in the society that we live in of like constant consumerism, and the fantasy that this latest thing will make us be better, or the top of the world, or we can brag about it on Instagram and all those things. And it's actually really quite interesting when I post something on Instagram, I post a picture of a guitar like my old Strat, that gets many more likes than me talking about actually playing guitar or performing. So the picture of my old Strat does 95% better than a video of me playing the old Strat. So that brings me to the kind of retail therapy angle. You're feeling bad, you get that little endorphin rush for buying something, and ultimately it fades away and you're left feeling a little unhappy. Now, there are certain pieces of gear that I've bought that have kept me consistently happy, like this guitar or a 2-Rock. Just every time I plug in, I'm super happy about it. Now, yeah, those are expensive items, but they don't need to be. And here's the big thing. I think if you get a decent guitar, and whatever that decent guitar is means it's something that's in your price range, and a decent amplifier. So let's talk about decent amplifiers. What does that mean? There's so many great amplifiers, anything that inspires you to play. Most of the time when I'm sitting here playing at home, I'm playing through a Fractal FM3 into my monitors. So a very inexpensive plugin, even something that comes along with Logic or GarageBand, can sound really good. A $100 plugin can be very satisfying to play through. Okay, so how do we cure this? I don't want to make it seem like this whole negative video. How do we get out of this cycle? Well, the first thing is to realize that you're in it, right? You know, understanding that you are in this negative feedback loop of obsessing about minutia, and realizing that whole time you spent working on dialing in your pedal board for days and days and days, you haven't actually played the guitar in any way. First thing I will do is go outside and go for a walk. I live in New York City, it's great. I just go outside. In New York City, I try to do something different, or I try to get out into nature. I try to get away from all this flashing lights and all this stuff in front of me. That's the first thing I do. What I've just done today, because I've gone through this, is I put everything away. Put all the pedal boards away, and all I'm going to do is plug my guitar into my amplifier. Guitar and some reverb. And I find that to be really great, because really, when I'm not in those moods, when I play through some of my nice amps, there's never any pedals, just me plugging right into the amplifier. I like some reverb, that would be like my only effect, and I'll just play guitar. And I find that that's actually when I am most happy. So put everything away, except for your favorite guitar and your favorite amp, plug in and just play and reconnect with the instrument. Another thing I do is I have a desert island list, for lack of a better word. Like if somehow I had to get rid of all my gear, what would I keep? And I've got a number of guitars, and it really comes down to 3 instruments for me, and really 1 amplifier. So what I end up doing in these situations like that is, like I said, put everything away except for 1 or 2 guitars I really love to play, and just work with them. Don't fuss with pedals, do nothing, just play into your amplifier. The final thing, be grateful for a lot of things in my life. I'm not at all religious. You don't need to be grateful. I am grateful that some of you guys want to watch me speak on YouTube. I'm grateful that I get to play guitar for a living through decades of hard work, but I'm grateful that I'm at a point that I can do this for a living. I'm grateful for everyone who's here. I am grateful to have nice instruments. I'm grateful to, have some talent on the instrument. I'm grateful not to be living in the street. all these things like that. So if I pull back and go, man, you know, just enjoy playing the guitar because it's such a gift that I've been given to found it and to love it so much, and it's kind of never let me down. So as I keep trying to connect with that again, a lot of the gear and all those things just falls away. So I hope this video was helpful in some way. I know we all suffer from this to a certain degree. Hopefully it wasn't too boring, but I think it's something we need to talk about because, like I said, we live in a capitalist society and where everybody's always trying to sell you something at all times. And though I'm not making any political comments on that, I'm just saying we have to be aware of how sometimes this can make us feel. So if you like this, once again, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Go over to Jam Guitar Lessons if you want to help out over there. Check out some of the master classes and courses that I have. The Blues Guitar Boot Camp, all sorts of really fun things going on over there. And as that expands. So I will see you guys soon, and take it easy.